Hi, I'm Inbali Iserles.
And I'm Joe Craig, and I want to tell you a bit about two of my favourite books of all time, The Sneetches and Other Stories, and Yertle the Turtle, both by Dr Seuss. Did you like Yertle the Turtle?
The man, the legend. I loved Yertle the Turtle, and
Brilliant.
I'm so grateful to you for getting me to read it again in adult life. It is absolutely fantastic. For anyone who missed this from their childhood, and I am very sorry for you if you did, or just needs a little bit of a refresher. Yertle is the king of the turtles and decides that he needs to be the greatest turtle of them all, and therefore he needs to see beyond all other turtles because what he sees he owns. So he gets all the turtles to climb one on top of each other, and he climbs on top, and still it's not high enough, so he gets even more turtles, and they're all balancing on top of each other, and he climbs on top, and finally they're, wibbling and wobbling, and all the turtles above it, and he's standing looking above, and he sees everything, and he's so great, and he's so amazing, but of course the poor little turtle at the very bottom is really struggling, and then the poor little turtle burps, and his burp makes the whole structure quiver, and it falls, and Yertle is just another turtle like everybody else.
Great lesson for us all. That's the thing about them. There are moral lessons in all of these stories, but that's not really. It doesn't seem to be the main point of them. That's just incidental to a great story, which I really like.
Yeah, you don't feel like it's talking down to you in any way, and yet the stories in this, Yertle and Gertrude McFuzz, which is about a bird who wanted more tail feathers because she was vain and wanted to look like the other bird, and then had too many of the berries that give you feathers, and they couldn't fly at all. And also the great fight between the bear and the rabbit, who both consider themselves to be much better than each other. It's all about hubris and arrogance, vanity and pride, and what comes to you if you are full of these loathsome characteristics. And yet it doesn't feel like a fable, and it doesn't feel like you're being preached to.
No. But why I particularly chose these, and why I particularly love them, and why I think Dr Seuss is amazing generally, is that there isn't a single syllable in any of these stories that's wasted. Everything is absolutely as it should be, tells the story as beautifully and succinctly and sharply as is possible to tell. He's obviously most famous for The Cat in the Hat, but I think the ones that are for the slightly older reader, things like The Sneetches and Yertle the Turtle, are that much better because they're slightly more sophisticated stories, but told beautifully and simply with not a word out of place. And it's brilliant. So the Sneetches, if you can't remember what happens to them, some of them have stars on their bellies, some of them don't have stars on their bellies, and there's prejudice between the two types of Sneetch, and then someone comes along with a machine that can remove stars or add stars, and he basically makes a fool out of all of the Sneetches. But it's got another one, and I read this when I was a kid, and just to continue to read it again and again, all into adult life, it's got the Zacks, who are two really obstinate people that are walking, and they meet each other, and they're refusing to budge in either direction because that's the direction they're walking, and they just get stuck there, and the rest of the world grows up around them. So brilliant stories, two incredibly slim books, but 6 fantastic stories.
And the other thing that I think is amazing about them, and you say there's not a word out of place, part of that, and part of the brilliance of the stories is that they rhyme. Everything he wrote was in rhyme. Reminds me a little bit of Roald Dahl's Revolting Rhymes. And there has been a real lashback against rhyming books. And much of that I understand, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong, is because of the need to syndicate certain sorts of books for younger readers into lots of languages, and if you need different languages it's difficult in translation. So generally speaking, unless you're an absolute blockbuster already, no one will sign you if you rhyme, and that is really sad. I think children like rhyming and they like repetition, and I like rhyming. I mean, there's no shame in it. But
and it's brilliant if you can do it well.
And
the stories that I read now that are rhyming stories are very forced rhymes, and you can see through the way they've constructed it.
Agree.
There's none of that in Dr Seuss. Everything is beautifully done and just seems to rhyme naturally, and it's genius. Let me read a little bit.
Please do.
Back from Yertle the Turtle. This is the thing that Yertle Turtle says when he's at the top of his tower of turtles, and the more things he can see, the more things he is in charge of. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the Turtle, oh marvellous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Dr Seuss, one of our faves.